Thank you for taking a break from your cat videos to join us on West Explains Best. Today we're going to be doing a Kuta software worksheet on surface area of prisms and cylinder. This is specifically for geometry students. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we have a bunch of examples and we're going to do kind of one of each type of shape so you understand how to do this problem. First thing we need to understand about surface area is we need to understand that we are finding the area of two-dimensional surface that compose the 3D shape. So the first two problems, actually the first couple problems are asking to transpose the dimensions of the 3D shape onto the net, which is essentially a unfolding of the 3D shape. So we know that the measurement here, we're just going to transpose this right here. This is 6.9. Okay, and actually let me change that to red so you can see what that is, red. All right, and we know that the edges of this base, there's always two bases for a prism. So you can see that the base here is at the bottom, that's touching the floor, and then the other one would be opposite it, so it'd be up on top. So that would match these dimensions here. So we know that this is, let me write it in red again, 8, 8, 8, 8, and 8. Okay, same thing with the other base. This other base needs to match its same dimensions, and that is 8. So if this is going to roll up, this thing's kind of going to roll up. This would roll up here. That would roll up all the way around. Once you fold up the two bases, we can see that they need to match up with the length of each side of the base. Okay, and then the one thing that's different is the height of this prism. The height is going to be the distance between the two bases. So you can see that there, and that is 9. So here we have the height, and it is 9. So we have some of the dimensions. You guys are going to do this for all of them. I think that's important to understand at least visually what's going on, but the most important thing is understanding how do we find the surface area. So the surface area is going to be equal to the lateral area plus the two bases. I like these nets because they kind of break down what the lateral area is. The lateral area are usually composed, well not usually, they are composed of rectangles when we're talking about prisms. Now, with cylinders is kind of like a special type of prism. It's just one big rectangle. So think of a soup can label. As you peel off a soup can, there's just one big rectangle that goes all the way around the circle. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. With any other sort of prism, this one is a hexagonal prism because its base, there's a base, is a hexagon. So it's called a hexagonal prism. All right, so we need to find the lateral area, and there's a great formula. Instead of just finding the area of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different rectangles, we can do a simpler way, which is taking the perimeter of the base and multiply that by the height of the prism. Okay, so in this case, we're going to do 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, 8 times 6 to get our perimeter, and we're going to multiply that by our height, which we already know is 9. So now we just have, let me get my calculator out. So now we just have this simple arithmetic problem, which is 8 times 6. Of course, that's 48. And we're going to multiply that by 9 times 9. And we get 432. Okay, so we have our lateral area. That's been found. And now we just need to find the area of two bases. So in order to find two bases, clearly we just need to find the area of one base first and then multiply it by 2. Now how do we do that? Well, what we need to do is apply the area for a regular polygon. And that is the perimeter times the apothem, times 1/2, or divided by 2. So our perimeter is going to be 8 times 6, 48. Our apothem is given as 6.9, and you're going to be doing this with any of these regular shapes right here that are giving the apothem. The apothem is a distance from the midpoint perpendicular to the midpoint of a side, so from the center to the midpoint of a side. So this one, you're going to use this formula for regular area of polygon, those two, this one, and I think that's it. Okay. So we do 48 times 6.9 times 1/2. Again, I'm going to use this on my calculator, so I go 48 times 6.9 times 0.5 or 1/2, and I get 1,656. 1,656. Now, I need 2 of those, so I'm going to multiply this by 2. And I'm going to show that calculation here. So my lateral area was 432. My base area was, hold on, I'm going to do plus 2 times my base area. Oops, I didn't get the decimal. I was wondering why the number was so big. We all make mistakes. Okay, so 48 times 6.9 times 6.9 times 1/2. Okay, that's a much better answer. I get 165.6. Okay, so then I multiply this by 165.6. See, I had my teacher instincts going off there, thinking that something was amiss. Okay, so then I multiply this by 2. I get 432 plus 331.2. I add that together. 432 equals 763.2. I think the moral of the story is whenever you use cell phone calculators, you're going to make some mistakes. Okay, so be smart and get a different kind of calculator. All right, let's go ahead and do this prism in number 6. Number 6, what we're going to do is we're going to write in the dimensions. So here we have 2. We know this is 10. And now the tricky part, so that's the height. That's get rolled up. See, that's always the distance between the 2 bases is the height. So how do we find this missing distance here? Well, if we were to roll it up, it would become our circumference. So really what we need to do is we need to find our circumference. So in general, for a cylinder, the surface area is equal to the area of the lateral area plus the area of the 2 bases. Same thing, but now we have more specific formulas for the lateral area. For example, lateral area. Well, the lateral area is just going to be this rectangle here, that big rectangle. Well, how do we find that big rectangle? We're going to take the circumference, 2 pi r, and we're going to multiply it by the height, because that's what you do for rectangles, multiply the base times the height. We get 2 pi times 2, that's the radius, times 10. So let's get, multiply it, we get 40 pi. Okay, so we get 40 pi for our lateral area, and now we need to get our 2 bases. Now we know the area of a base for a circle is pi r squared, so we're going to do pi times 2 squared, which is 4 pi. So we're going to double that, 2 times 4 pi, and we get 48 pi unit squared. I forgot to write unit squared on this guy. Unit squared. Okay, so we get 48 pi unit squared. Something else to consider, these 2 surface area formulas are exactly the same because when you do perimeter times the height, well, the circumference is technically the perimeter of this prism. Okay, so that's how you do cylinders. I think squares and rectangles are fairly simple, so we'll go to a tougher one, which is a triangle. This one we do not require to draw the net, but I'm highlighting here, this is one of the bases. Actually, yeah, we've been using that for lateral area. Let me use this. So one of our bases is a triangle here. So what we're going to have to do is same formula, surface area equals lateral area plus the 2 bases. We can go ahead and find one of the area of the bases. Because this is 90 degrees, we can go ahead and do 1/2 the base times the height. So 1/2 times the base is 8 times the height 6. Oops, 6. That equals 24 kilometers. So we already have that bit right there, 24 kilometers. Now we need the lateral area. Lateral area is the perimeter of the base times the height. So the perimeter of the base, we have 8, 6, 10. Perimeter is 10. Oops, sorry, not 10. 8 plus 6 plus 10. And we're going to multiply this by the height of the prism. The height of the prism is 4. As you can see, the distance between the two bases is 4 units. So that is our height. Let me actually write that in blue. Okay, we're going to multiply these together to get our lateral area. Lateral area equals, we have, what is that, 24 times 4. I believe that's 96. It's always good to check your answer, even if you're 100% sure. 24 times 4 times 4. All these cell phone calculators, remind me not to use this again. All right, so we get 96, as promised. So we have 96 as our lateral area, plus 2 times 24 is going to be our total surface area. So surface area is equal to 96 plus 48, and that equals 144 kilometers squared. Hope this gives you a good foundation for how to do these problems. I did 3 of the more tough problems, and you should be well equipped to handle all of these. Until next time, be good, be kind, be true, be nice, and be honest.